When we think of expensive materials, our minds may immediately jump to visions of gold, diamonds, and platinum. It seems that many everyday objects are made ridiculously expensive with the addition of these things, so that makes sense. But gold is nowhere near one of the most expensive materials on Earth. In fact, some of the most expensive materials in our video may surprise you. If you do want to be surprised by a new video from the Hub every day, then make sure you join our notification squad. You should also subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. Saffron. While some of us are content with our pre-mixed seasoning packets, true chefs don't settle for anything less than the finest herbs and spices. Saffron is a favorite herb of many, and is an essential ingredient in many of our favorite dishes, such as paella and risotto Milanese. The reason it's so expensive is that it's so labor-intensive to harvest. The beautiful purple saffron flower has 3 tiny stigmas in the center. These must be removed by hand before being carefully toasted to dry. That process sounds like more work than we usually put into our entire dish. Although Spain is now the largest producer of saffron, it has been grown in the Mediterranean and Asia for millennia. It used to be used as a dye as well as a spice. The classic orange color of the robes worn by Buddhist monks was due to them being dyed with saffron. The flavor is potent, but unique and difficult to describe. It has a bold, earthy flavor that isn't overpowering if a light hand is used. Due to the immense effort required to acquire it, saffron retails for about $500 per ounce. Rhino Horn. Why would anyone want to hurt a beautiful rhinoceros? Especially considering the fact that we all know they're endangered. Well, the sad answer to that question is that their horns are worth a staggering amount of money. Even thieves who don't want to hunt rhinos themselves are known to steal them from museums and auction houses. Instead of going for the gold and jewels, these thieves just want those horns. Many cultures claim that these horns have restorative powers, which is why they are so highly sought after. You've heard of objects being worth their weight in gold, but these horns are worth way more than gold. These horns can fetch $55 per gram or $25,000 per pound. People claim that they can cure everything, from a simple fever to cancer. And that kind of power is something people will pay big bucks for. And in case you were wondering, there is zero proof that these horns do anything of the sort. They're actually made of the same material that your fingernails are made out of. Sadly, gullible people are willing to shell out huge sums of money for something that is no more magical than a pile of toenail clippings. Plutonium. A substance that is as expensive as it is dangerous, it's estimated that plutonium can cost as much as $4,000 per gram. While we all know that plutonium can be used in order to create nuclear weaponry, it can also be used in fuel in nuclear reactors. In the US, plutonium can supplement traditional uranium fuel power in additional nuclear reactors. This effective combined fuel is known as mixed oxide. When it is used inside of a nuclear reactor, the plutonium can absorb neutrons in fission along with the uranium. Out of the variety of nuclear fuels available, plutonium has the smallest critical mass, which can be further reduced using neutron reflectors in implosion geometry. Plutonium isn't particularly dangerous as a source of radiation, but if it's ingested or breathed in, it can be incredibly hazardous. Of course, we feel like most people know better than to try to eat plutonium, but you never know. To give you an idea of how dangerous this is when utilized as a weapon, it's estimated that 1 pound of plutonium turned into dust and inhaled could give cancer to 2 million people. You're actually better off if you do decide to eat plutonium than if you breathe it in, since your gastrointestinal tract won't absorb that much. The cost for that pound of plutonium would be over $1.8 million. Endohedral Fullerenes. Many expensive materials occur naturally, but this one was created in a laboratory and carries quite a hefty price tag. Scientists at Oxford University have announced that their lab, known as Designer Carbon Materials, has sold their first sample of a material they created called Endohedral Fullerenes. 200 micrograms of this was sold for $32,000. 1 microgram is 1/millionth of a gram, so we're talking about something 1/15th the weight of a snowflake, or 1/3 the weight of a strand of hair. An entire gram of this substance would cost $145 million. So what is this insanely expensive material? It's a spherical carbon nanostructure. They consist of a sturdy fullerene cage material comprised of 60 carbon atoms. Inside of the atoms are trapped single molecules such as nitrogen, phosphorus, and helium. When they contain nitrogen atoms, they can be used in atomic clocks, the most accurate timekeeping systems in the world, because of their extra long electron spin lifetime. Endohedral fullerenes have the potential to downsize atomic clocks, from the size of a cabinet to the size of a microchip. This means that they could be used in everyday items like cell phones or GPS devices. White truffles. They may not look like much, but white truffles command quite the hefty price tag. If you see this ingredient on a menu, you can bet that the dish it's going in is going to put a strain on your budget. A 4.16-pound white truffle was once sold for $61,250, which was actually considered a bargain. In 2007, a 3.3-pound white truffle was sold for $330,000, and this is thought to be a record price for a single truffle. One reason white truffles are so expensive is because they are only found in the wild. While people have tried to cultivate them over the years, they haven't been successful. In recent years, some headway has been made by co-planting the truffles with chestnut, oak, and hazelnut trees, but the resulting truffle crops are insubstantial at best. Instead, truffles must be hunted for, often employing the aid of specially trained dogs. Female pigs used to be used for this task, but there was just one small problem with that. The pigs wanted to keep the truffles for themselves. Using pigs has actually been banned because they can cause damage to truffle beds in their haste to get to the trees. The truffles also need to be transported and utilized quickly because they begin to dehydrate the instant they're pulled from the ground. Caviar. In movies and television, showing a character indulging in caviar is shorthand for letting the viewers know that this is someone of wealth and status. But why pay so much cash for fish eggs? If you're a fan of sushi, you've likely seen that many popular rolls use fish roe as an ingredient. But the beluga caviar that commands such a high price is from a different type of fish. It's made of salt-cured sturgeon roe, which can cost as much as $300 per ounce. Beluga sturgeons are found in the Caspian Sea and the Black Sea, and these fish take a whopping 2 decades to reach their maximum size. The heaviest beluga sturgeons have been known to reach up to 2 tons in weight. In fact, a sample of pearly white caviar was once extracted from an enormous sturgeon believed to be 100 years old. This rare sample of caviar sold for over $1,000 per ounce. Compared to other varieties of caviar, these eggs are renowned to be the softest and largest. In fact, only the roe from a sturgeon is technically considered caviar at all. This opulent treat is said to have a creamy, buttery texture. Californium. Californium is one of the most expensive metals in the world, and since they don't use it to make jewelry or coat things in to make them more expensive, you may not have heard of it. And even if you knew what it was, it's unlikely you'd be able to afford it, as it costs about $27 million for a gram. It's the heaviest naturally occurring element on Earth. However, it only has a half-life of less than 3 years, and it's radioactive, making it something you won't find much use for in your day-to-day life. But if you need it, Californium is indispensable, which is why it's so expensive. It emits a large amount of neutrons, which makes it ideal for detection purposes when it comes to locating other materials, such as silver and gold. It can also be used with neutron radiography of aircraft and weapons to detect corrosion, bad welds, and other structural defects that could be dangerous. The large amount of neutrons it emits also makes it incredibly useful as a neutron startup source for nuclear reactors. It can also be used as a treatment for certain types of cervical and brain cancers when other forms of radiation therapy fail to help. Solaris. At about $167 per fluid ounce, a year of treatment with the drug Solaris can easily top $500,000. But for people suffering from the medical conditions it's used for, there really is no other option. For sufferers of paroxysmal nocturnal hemoglobinuria and a typical hemolytic uremic syndrome, it's a necessity. These conditions cause the body to attack and destroy red blood cells, which can result in anemia and organ failure. Solaris isn't a cure, but it can stop the body's attack on its tissues and organs so that the afflicted can live a normal life. Why is this drug so expensive? As to the process behind creating Solaris, we really don't have an answer because the company that makes it is so tight-lipped about it. Solaris is what's referred to as an orphan drug, and those don't tend to be cheap. Orphan drugs are used to treat conditions that affect only a small percentage of the population. Because of this, pharmaceutical companies aren't in a big rush to sink money into researching and developing treatments, since there likely won't be a large profit to be made. So if one company does step up and devise a treatment, they have completely cornered the market and can charge whatever they like for their product. Scorpion venom. If you encounter a scorpion in the wild, you're unlikely to hear a cash register sound effect in your head. You're more likely to feel fear, or at least apprehension, and hope it stays far, far away from you. Scorpions are venomous, but out of the various species, only 25 have enough venom to be deadly to humans. But their venom can also be used to heal humans as well. Because of the protein it contains, It can be used to treat conditions such as rheumatoid arthritis, IBS, and multiple sclerosis. And new research suggests that it may be used in cancer treatments as well. When operating on brain cancer patients, it can be extremely hard to see exactly where the tumor is, and obviously precision is needed. By researching scorpion venom, scientists were able to create a synthetic version minus the poison and plus fluorescent dye. When injected into a patient, the tumor actually glows, making it easy for surgeons to see. Needless to say, this venom is extremely difficult and time-intensive to acquire, which may explain its enormous price tag. It's extracted by electrical stimulation, and each scorpion only produces 0.5 milligrams at a time. 1 gram of venom is worth about $10,000. A single gallon of scorpion venom is valued at about $39 million. Tritium. When we see one of those lit up exit signs at the movie theater, most of us don't think that the substance used to create it must have been very expensive. But what you're looking at is tritium, a radioactive isotope of hydrogen, and it's also incredibly expensive. For a single gram of tritium, you're looking to spend about $30,000. The chances of tritium occurring naturally on Earth is incredibly rare, but it can be formed by irradiating lithium metal in a nuclear reactor. Besides being used as a radioluminescent light source for watches and signs, it can also be used as a fuel for nuclear fusion reactors. The commercial applications for devices using the illuminating power of tritium are many, and its demand helps drive up the cost. It can also act as an oceanic transient tracer. It's used to examine ocean circulation and ventilation. It's relatively safe for humans because it's a low-energy beta emitter. These beta particles are not strong enough to penetrate your skin, but they can be hazardous when ingested. So again, we must advise you to please not eat the strange glowing substance if you happen to encounter it. So the next time you get your paycheck, we bet you're going to head straight to the store and get some beluga caviar and season it with white truffles and saffron. Just don't forget to pass on the powdered rhino horn. They're endangered. Thanks for watching our video. And if you haven't, subscribe to our channel. If you join our notification squad by clicking the gray bell, you'll be the first to know when we post a new video. Bye for now.